What if I told you there's one simple question, just one, that could completely transform your manager from, just a supervisor into your biggest champion for leadership growth? Well, today we're going to break down a strategy that's powerful, super simple, and does exactly that.
Okay, so let me ask you this, and be honest. When was the last time you actually asked your boss? Not about your to-do list, not about your numbers, but about how you're doing as a leader. If you're like most people, the answer is probably, never, right? And look, that hesitation, that little pause right there, that's one of the single biggest missed opportunities in your entire career.
So, what's the deal here? Well, the heart of the problem is something we can call the performance review gap. You see, the way we normally get feedback, it's just not set up for real, actual leadership development. Let's dig into why that is. Okay, take a look at this. This really shows the difference between the meetings we have and the conversations we need. On one hand, you've got your typical check-ins and quarterly reviews, right? All about project updates, performance ratings, maybe a little talk about compensation. But on the other hand, that's where the real potential is. Actual leadership conversations about your growth, your effectiveness. And those really important questions, the ones like, how can I actually be a better leader? They just get completely lost in the day-to-day shuffle. So why does this happen? And here's the thing. It's not because your manager is out to get you or doesn't care. Not at all. It usually comes down to a really common leadership blind spot. And that blind spot creates what we call the investment gap. So the investment gap, think of it like this. It's that huge, dangerous space between the support you actually need to succeed as a leader and the support your manager gives you by default. A lot of managers, they might think their job was basically done the day they promoted you. They kind of figure, okay, they're smart. They'll figure out the leadership stuff while they hit their numbers. And that assumption, that right there creates a really tricky gap that, guess what, you're expected to cross all by yourself. But here's where it gets really good. There is a super simple, proactive way to close that gap. It's a little something called the mentorship activation strategy. And it's all about flipping a switch and turning your manager into the exact mentor you need them to be. And this is honestly the best part. The solution isn't some complicated 10-step HR program you have to sign up for. No way. It's elegantly simple, and it puts all the power right back in your hands. It really just comes down to asking a few of the right questions. So here they are, the 3 key questions. Just imagine for a second, in your next one-on-one, just casually asking, hey, how do you think I'm progressing as a leader? Or maybe something like, from your perspective, what should I be doing more of, or maybe less of, in my leadership style? You can even make it personal and ask them, when you were coming up, what strategies did you find worked best for you? Doing this regularly, say once a month, that's how you build some serious momentum. And when you start asking these kinds of questions, something really fascinating starts to happen on a psychological level. The whole dynamic of your relationship with your boss, it just begins to shift. This really lays it out perfectly. I mean, think about it. A manager is focused on the now, right? The deliverables, the deadlines, hitting those quarterly numbers. But a mentor is invested in your long-term potential. So by asking for their leadership advice, you're literally reframing the whole relationship. Suddenly, you're not just an employee checking off tasks. You're a future leader that they are now actively helping to build. So what's the magic behind this transformation? Well, it's actually powered by a really well-known psychological trigger called the reciprocity principle. It's simple. When someone invests their time, their energy, their expertise in you, they become psychologically invested in your success. Your wins start to feel like their wins too. And believe me, that investment pays off in really tangible ways. You're going to get way better guidance when you're facing those tough decisions. You'll have more support when you're dealing with a difficult situation or a conflict. And you'll probably find they have a lot more patience for those inevitable mistakes that, hey, we all make when we're growing. They are now on your team in a fundamentally deeper way. And look, this isn't just some nice idea. It's actually grounded in solid science. The research by the famous persuasion expert Robert Cialdini basically proves this. He found that the simple act of asking for advice is an incredibly powerful tool. When you ask for someone's expertise, you're not just getting info. You're literally triggering their commitment to seeing you succeed. Okay, so what does all of this mean for you, like right now? Let's get practical and talk about your very next step. How you can put this whole strategy into practice this week. Yeah, this week. Here's the game plan. Super simple. Step 1, schedule a quick, brief chat with your manager. Doesn't have to be a big formal thing. Step 2, ask just one of those development questions we talked about earlier, just one. And then, step 3, just watch. Pay attention. Notice how the dynamic shifts, how the conversation feels different, because what you're doing is activating their investment in you in real time.
At the end of the day, most managers really do want to see you succeed. They might not know how to help. By asking the right question, you're basically handing them the playbook. You're showing them exactly how to support you. So as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this to think about. Looking back on your own career, what have been the most valuable, game-changing conversations you've had? The good news is you now have the tools to make more of those happen yourself.